Greetings, welcome to another video. Today we're going to be talking about Libra Svamsa. Jaimini gives us the result trade, and that's just a single word, and it's a perfect example of his technique of giving us very little information and expecting us to use our intellectual abilities, so what we already know about astrology, and our intuitive abilities, and digging deeper into life and being able to contemplate in order to derive more deeper meanings to the significations that he gives, and in order to become better astrologers or more people with a greater depth of understanding by putting a lot of self-effort into understanding these things. He doesn't just lay it all out. That's something that you see a lot in Indian and Vedic astrology, is that this planet here combined with this gives this, this, and this, and this. But you see in your chart, and I don't have this very abstract, specific thing. Astrology doesn't work like that. Astrology is very much more, it's very personal to each person. The themes that we can study while using techniques give overlying themes, but they're rarely as specific as the literalist kinds of translations give us. So Jaimini's system is very much more profound in that sense. It's giving us much more things that we have to think deeply about, and it's not as he doesn't want to define it because it can have so many different definitions, a single thing. So first of all, how do we find the Svamsa sign? Do you have a Svamsa in Libra? It's very easy to find the Svamsa. You just find the planet with the highest degrees in your natal chart. That's called your Atmakaraka planet. And then find out where that planet falls in the Navamsa chart, or the ninth divisional chart. I put a graph in the description of this video that you can easily use. And let's do an example. If you're the planet with the highest degrees of all planets, except the two nodes and except the three outer planets, so except Rahu, Ketu, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, any of these planets that has the highest degrees in any sign, let's say it's Mars, and Mars is in 22 degrees in Sagittarius. In the graph at the bottom, or on the left-hand side, you'll see Sagittarius, so Mars is in Sagittarius. Look at the degree ranges, the 9 degree ranges, the 9 divisions. 22 degrees falls into the third to the last degree range, between 20 degrees and 23 degrees 20 minutes. So Mars in 22 degrees Sagittarius, follow that down, that puts your Svamsa in Libra. So this person's Atmakaraka, Mars, is in the Svamsa of Libra. So the significations of this video will apply to this person. So let's get into it. What does trade mean on a let's start with the very superficial level. Trade is us making an exchange, and that could be physical resources, but more importantly, because Libra is an air sign, the exchange of ideas and information, and the exchange of energy between you and something outside of you. And that's what trade is. It's a give and take. It's making a deal. It's having something and then receiving, and then giving that something and then receiving something for it. So having a Svamsa in Libra is not going to make you necessarily a trader or someone that works in the economy or a person who sells things. There are many other considerations in the chart to show your career and what you actually do in life. What it means is that your lifelong obstacle, or not your lifelong obstacle, a challenge that you're going to have throughout your life is understanding what is trade, no matter what profession you do. Understanding what is a fair and just exchange that you're making in order to receive things into your life. Things that make your life more fulfilling and things that make your life easier to live. So a lifelong theme is going to be, what am I trading and what am I getting? What am I giving and what am I getting? So a wonderful example of an individual that is dealing with this theme of trade throughout their life, or the exchange of energy, was Chandra of Shahjahanpur, and he went by the name of Babuji, and he was the second master of a system of meditation called Sahaj Marg, which means natural path. And for him, what he received was energy from the divine source, which is called pranahuti. Prana is simply the energy within our own body, but the pranahuti is the divine energy from the source of the universe. What he was doing is he was receiving that energy And then he would transmit that energy into other people. And it's all done through the heart where the soul resides. And by this practice of meditation, what you're doing is taking the divine source energy and then purifying the heart and purifying the soul from samskaras. And the more you do it, the more you can clean off what is called spiritual grossness. So what he was able to do, serving as the master of the system, is he was receiving the source energy as in a pure form, and then other people who were less spiritually advanced as he would then give and transmit that energy directly into the hearts of other people. So it's a heart-to-heart communication. And he was criticized by some people in his life because he would only give and he didn't expect anything in return whatsoever. He treated himself as a servant of God. And he was very much a person who spent his entire life trading or exchanging energy between other people and giving other energy what he was receiving, which was the divine source energy. And he was a very highly developed saint. So as you can see, a Libra Svamsa with trade doesn't necessarily have to have anything to do with business or selling things. It's the exchanges that you're making. And in Babuji's case, he was receiving the divine energy and then giving it to other people. And so that was his theme of trade in his life. Libra is ruled by Venus. If you were to use one word to describe Venus, you could use the word value. Venus and value. They both start with the letter V. Venus is understanding first what you have of value in your life. What is your self-worth? And then from that self-understanding, what value you bring to the world, being able to look outside of you and to bring things into your life, because Venus is a female planet, to receive things into your life that are equal or of greater value than what you have. Greater value meaning that you're getting a great deal but not manipulating the situation. But sometimes you can have something great and then a person gives you something even greater because they really need what you have. So Venus is at its core understanding what you bring to the table in life. And Venus, the intelligence of Venus, we're going to go through a lot of significations, but the intelligence of Venus is called kavya. So it's the ability to read in between the lines of life and to read in between what's not being stated, what's being stated but not stated directly. So being able to look in between, so a person is offering you something. They're offering something specific, but what else are they actually saying? What else are they actually giving? What are the deeper significations and even symbologic, the symbolism of what they're giving you? Oh, I'm giving you, say, a great deal on this car. And you say, wow, that's a great deal. It might be better deal than, it might be too good to be true. But the person you know for a long time, and you know this guy and he's done other deals with you. So on the surface, he's giving you a great deal, but on the deeper meaning, he's giving you a great deal because he appreciates who you are. He wants to help you in your life because of maybe what you've already given to the person. So in between what he's actually giving you, or underneath the surface, is the sense that he's giving you deeper appreciation for who you are. And the unwritten deal, so to say, is that he is extending he's extending appreciation, and he's showing that you're a valuable person by doing a superficial thing, by giving you a good deal on that car or whatever. So being able to read in between the lines, and especially reading in between the lines of human interactions. Venus is very much a planet about relationships, and that's what Venus is mostly talked about. It's the planet of love, or it's the planet of relationships. But what is a relationship? A relationship is an exchange between two people. A healthy relationship is an exchange between one person that needs something in their life, and they have something to give, and they find another person that resolves that need, or that person has what they want. And in exchange, that other person needs what I have to give. Any healthy human relationship is that give and take. Both people are improving the lives of the other because they're giving in an exchange, an energetic exchange. Sometimes it's material exchanges, whatever, but it's always basically a deal. It could be a deal between two people that they expressly say, or it could be much more of a deeper bond that the two give inexplicable things to one another. But that's what human relationships are. So a Libra Svamsa, it's much more than just trading things. A Libra Svamsa person, their life is going to be revolving around what are the themes of my give and take with human relationships? Am I receiving more than I'm getting, and vice versa? Are other people just taking from me, and why is that? So you're always going to have to be assessing these kinds of things and evaluating what your relationships are. What are you receiving? And are other people feeling drained by being around you? Are you taking more? Or are they taking advantage of you? Are you giving more? Or is there a nice, healthy balance? And so finding that equilibrium is going to be a major theme for any Libra Svamsa person. The scales, it's the sign of the scales. Am I a human relations? Are my relationships equalized? Are they balanced? Do I feel that everyone's getting a good deal? Generating win-win situations. And I just said human resources. So a Libra Svamsa person, there's going to be this theme throughout their life of how do I use people as a resource? Am I using people as a means to get to my end? Or do I see that human beings are an end in and of themselves? And a healthy Libra Svamsa person sees that every person has some kind of value to them. It might not be something that I need in my life, but that person is valuable in and of themselves. An unhealthy Libra Svamsa person sees the value that other people may have and then uses that as a means for them to get ahead in a selfish sense. Or it could mean that if a person doesn't have immediate value to you, they're not valuable at all. That's an unhealthy understanding of what human resources are. Because humans, it's a corporate term, human resources. And people criticize it as a very kind of manipulative way to use people as objects. But it's a deeper, everyone does have a resource that they can give to the world. And so what is your relationship with other people, and how do you see, what is your posture towards other people as resources? And the healthiest way to do that is to see people as not means to an end, but as ends in and of themselves. They are a person of value and they deserve to be respected and treated as worthy, even if they don't give us something directly in our own lives. And so Venus is all about understanding those patterns of understanding in your own psychology of these subtleties, these subtle layers of how people are valuable to us or valuable to the rest of society. Libra Svamsa people, because of Venus's ownership of Libra, these people will be they can be very savvy people. They're people that like to be in the know about things, and they like to be on the top of whatever trends are and going on in society, because Libra is a very societal kind of sign. It's the exchange of ideas and people. So these people are going to have this theme of wanting to get the newest information, wanting to be ahead of the curve. They're going to want to be people that are seen as people that are in the know about things. And a very good adage for these people, for a Libra Svamsa person to understand is, it's not what you know, it's who you know. What you know is key to living life in general, but it's who you know that is really going to bring an edge up in your life. And that goes again with the human resources. So one challenge for Libra Svamsa people is, if they're having an unhealthy expression of this theme in their life, they're wanting to maybe do too many things themselves, which is a lot harder way to live. But if you're in a healthy mode of living, you see that other people are the greatest resources that you can have, and who you know is going to get you far ahead in life at a way faster pace than trying to do everything yourself. And again, a healthy way to do that is to be respectful for the desires of other people, and to not take advantage and manipulate other people to getting what you want. But when you know somebody that can get you where you want to go and you're not hurting them, you're going to get somewhere way faster. And you can see the connections that people make throughout life. They have way less skills than others, but they know the right person, and they get a great position in life because they know the right people. So a Libra Svamsa theme in life is, are other people, am I bringing other people into my life? Am I meeting the right people that are able to help me get to where I want to go faster and a lot easier than having to do everything myself? An unhealthy Libra Svamsa person has a diminished ability for negotiating and getting where they want to go. And they need to work on being able to find solutions with other people and not thinking that they have to go it alone or do everything rogue. And just to quickly touch on before we move on after the about human relationships, when you're in a healthy relationship with somebody, you are in an equal exchange of, you both have a healthy sense of your own self-worth. An unhealthy expression of that is always feeling like you're getting the short end of the stick with something. You're not negotiating and getting a good price, so to say. You're giving more. And a person with a Libra Svamsa, a theme throughout their life is, what is the weight of the balance that's happening? Am I, like I said, getting the short end of the stick too often? And when that's happening, it means that you need to work on your own sense of self-worth. Lowered sense of self-worth in a Libra Svamsa person means that they're going to be settling for things that have far less worth, less worthy things. If you have a low self-worth, you're bringing relationships into your life that are validating that low self-worth, and you can be mistreated. Healthy sense of self-worth, you're only settling for good things. Venus is the planet of the fine arts. It's of beauty. It's of good taste. And when you have a healthy sense of self-worth, you're going to only be bringing things into your life that are of high value and of things that are going to add quality into your life. So a big theme is understanding your own quality and being able to bring quality things into your life, getting that nice exchange going, that trade going. And in the kingdom of the planets, the sun is the king, the moon is the queen, Mars is the commander or the fighter. Mercury is the prince that will inherit the kingdom. Jupiter is the guru or the spiritual teacher. Saturn is the regular person. Venus is the diplomat or the advisor to the king and queen. It doesn't matter if you're a male or female, you have all of these formats, you have all of these aspects in you. So if you're male, you have a queen side. If you're a female, you have a king side. But Venus is that advisor, the political intelligence of a person. And that means understanding how the world works. Venus is that understanding, it's that intelligence of maybe the rules of life aren't written out exactly, this is how this works, this is how that works. It's your ability of Venus that understands those unwritten rules. See, yeah, I mean, I've had all these experiences and no one told me this is how life works, but I learned that eventually. Therefore, I can navigate my life better because I learned that kind of unwritten way of how human relationships work, and therefore I can actually move forward in my life. And it's that practical, political intelligence that Venus has. So a Libra Svamsa person, as I said, they like to be in the know about things. And this kind of savviness that Venus has is going to help a person understand the subtleties of human psychology. This is another important theme for Libra Svamsa. It's understanding these tics that other people may have that they're not directly telling you, but you have to read into what they're saying and be able to navigate around that and be diplomatic and not to ruffle feathers purposefully or even unpurposefully, but to be able to navigate how other people are in an intelligent and charismatic way. Because Venus, a diplomat goes into another territory, another country, or goes into a place where they need to use charm and need to use likability and eloquence and be able to say things that make people like you. You need to go and use that ability in order to get things from the world around you. And that takes a savviness of understanding how the world works, as I said, and we can just say that's political intelligence. And so these people, Libra Svamsa, are going to have to develop that throughout their life. It's an unwritten rule, but I have to learn that unwritten rule. And that's what's going to help me get ahead quicker. And it's being able to decipher these kinds of subtleties of human psychology that is going to help you be able to see them within yourself, create greater self-understanding, and be able to make smoother relationships with other people. Win-win situations, partnerships that everyone feels good when they're done and everyone got what they wanted. It's not always possible. Sometimes you have to just say no, put your foot down in a kind way and say, I can't accept that into my life. I have something to offer, but I'm going to wait until someone gives me what I need. That's a healthy expression of the psychological intelligence that Venus can give. The unhealthy psychological intelligence is not being able to discriminate these small subtleties, reading in between the lines of how other people are, saying yes too soon, saying yes to things that you're unsure about, but you don't want to ruffle feathers, or you don't want to make someone feel bad, or you want to be seen as likable, being a yes person. These are all other things that you have to work on with Libra Svamsa. Are the trades you're making, are you making them because they're actually good for you, or are you not trying to upset other people, or are they trades that you're making that really validate yourself and that you know going forward they're going to improve your life and cause your life to become more fulfilling and worth living, bringing good, pleasurable things into your life so that life can move smoothly. Venus is a water planet, so it's allowing things to flow in and receive things into your life that are soothing and rejuvenating. So you have to be very, and the best way to be able to do that is to be able to understand people and what people are actually saying, even though their words explicitly don't say it. And so this actually gives people with a Venus or with a Libra Svamsa an interest in symbolism and archetypes about the world, seeing a general pattern of behavior and seeing the world works in these essential patterns. And people have these basic, they have these ways of being that you can see across the board. And this is that type of person. This is that kind of personality and type. And being very worldly, it's a cliche word in this context, but being very worldly. Venus is the worldly planet. Being able to go out and travel into the world and seeing how other cultures operate, learning new things in that way. Venus is also a student archetype, and being able to learn about how the world works. And like I said, a very practical, everyday sense. So this is another important theme for a Libra Svamsa person. And as we're talking about partnerships, we're talking about equality, we're talking about win-win situations, well, and we're talking about the balance, the symbol of Libra. So what does that symbol mean? It means justice, and justice in a worldly sense. And Sagittarius is actually the sign of divine justice, moral principles, and the structure of how reality works on a more abstract level, and seeing how divine laws are operating in society, and if society is working within the confines of what divine justice is. Libra is much more about practical political justice and fairness, and that everyone is getting a good deal. So Libra is actually the sign of war, one of the signs that can stimulate war. That's because if there are in the sky many difficult transits over Libra, or a person has a very strong or weak Libra, it causes conflict. And you wouldn't think that would be so, because Venus is such a likable and kind of charismatic, eloquent planet. But why does Libra cause war? And this can cause conflict in your own life. And one of the sources of conflict in a Libra Svamsa person's life. And that's because the sensation that something is so unjust that the only resolution is for physical conflict, because something has just gone way over what can be considered fair in the political sense. And a person that is very much like this, that shows this balance, is Ghandi. Ghandi has a Libra Svamsa. He is somebody that would no longer tolerate the British rule. It was so unjust for Indians that his protest was a very Venusian protest. It was all 100% peaceful as much as he could do and just gathering awareness. But what he was doing is he was initiating a conflict, and he was not doing a physical conflict, but a conflict against the ruling class of India of that time, because his sensation of fairness was so violated that the only way to do is to protest against that and to do something against that. So the understanding of what is fair and what is practical justice, and doing that in a healthy sense, is a Libra Svamsa drive in life. And a healthy way to do that is to be able to see, as I said, everyone on an equal level, and being able to treat people fairly and not manipulate or take advantage of other people and their resources. An unhealthy way of doing that, an unhealthy way of understanding justice, is to have different understandings of justice. I have a set of rules, they have a set of rules, and we're not on equal playing ground. A person who has a Libra Svamsa is Donald Rumsfeld. Donald Rumsfeld plays by different rules to himself and to other people. He was the Department of Defense Secretary for the Iraq War when George Bush was in power, George W. Bush. And he's a person with the Libra Svamsa, and he would lie, and he treated other people very unjustly, the citizens of people in the Middle East, the human beings there. And so you have someone that plays by different sets of rules for him and his family and people close to him, and he treats other people with a totally disregard for what they want and what they need out of their lives. He's a warmonger. And so there you have two hugely different understandings of Libra Svamsa, a person that is not going to settle for injustice happening to themselves or people around them, and a person that institutes injustice. A person that is all about injustice, but on the surface he's saying, oh, this is fair, we were attacked, all this stuff, but he is actively creating deeper injustices. And that's a person who's manipulating their own sense of goodwill, and they have a manipulative attitude because they want to receive things. They want to give and receive. It's still a trade-off. I'm giving a war to another country, and the trade-off is we have more freedom. But what do they receive? They receive death and destruction. We receive the money from the military-industrial complex. So they win he creates this totally unequal partnership, Donald Rumsfeld. But Ghandi, on the other hand, what is he giving? He's giving information about peace and about understanding. What he's receiving is the hope that him and the people of India can live in a more just society where everyone's treated fairly. So it can go in so many different ways, but it's this trade-off, this exchange of energy. What am I receiving and what am I giving? And it can really go in have so many different patterns to it. And so human rights, I guess you could sum it up for a Libra Svamsa person, a preoccupation with what are human rights, what does every person deserve in their life? And you can really spread that out to society, but you can put that onto yourself, and what do I deserve in my life? I deserve respect, X, Y, and Z. I deserve these things. And I'm not going to settle for anything less than that. And being firm on that, and having a ability to not settle for less, essentially. So the technique that we use when we're talking about Svamsas is we look at what planet is debilitated in that sign and what planet is exalted in that sign. That's going to show us what healthy expressions of that Svamsa is and what are unhealthy. So what planet is debilitated in Libra? It's the Sun. So an unhealthy Libra Svamsa is going to display traits of a debilitated Sun. So what are those traits? Well, the Sun is your ability to stand on your own 2 feet, act with consistency, and have a vision for your life, and to be able to work slowly over time to execute that greater vision, that original vision for who you are. When the Sun's debilitated, it's a person that is not so much in contact with that deeper vision that is original to you yourself. So what these people will do is they'll look outside of themselves too much for inspiration. They'll want to depend on other people too much, and they'll look for other resourceful people rather than dig deep within themselves and find the resourcefulness within themselves and then work from the inside out. So these people can have too much of an outside-in kind of habit where they are looking, and it can cause is copying other people's visions and really wanting to latch on to other people and what they do, and try to trade when it's appropriate to be self-sufficient. And then they'll also do the reverse, be self-sufficient when it's actually time to make a trade and exchange. So a misunderstanding about when it's time for me to do something with consistency for my own life and when it's time to bring someone else in to help me execute my original vision. And so it could also mean not sacrificing enough for other people. And it can mean having a selfish kind of understanding of, first, the inability to sacrifice to a great extent for other people, but also to sacrifice too much for oneself, but not sacrifice for the greater good or to help other people or the world around you. So it can kind of create a selfishness and say, this is my world, and I'm not going to leave my world, and I'm not going to make the entire world a better place. It can be very insular and wanting only something for oneself and only making very carefully chosen sacrifices rather than doing something for a larger purpose that can then extend from your world, doing good things for the world. So a person with the sun debilitated or an unhealthy Libra Svamsa, they need to learn about how to not copy other people, not copy the visions of other people, and to not be too easily swayed by other people. As I was saying, that savviness that a good Libra Svamsa is, being able to see other people and being clever in a certain sense and be able to understand other people. The sun or an unhealthy Libra Svamsa, they can be convinced very easily, or they're going to maybe not go with their gut feeling, but the person was really charismatic. Oh, okay, well, too easily swayed, too easily being able to move back and forth. The sun needs a strong place to stand upon. The air sign of Libra is the movements of energy, and that air can blow out the sun's inspiration, the fire of the sun's inspiration. That air can make a person just become too inconsistent. So those are things that a person with a weak Libra Svamsa is going to be. What planet is exalted in Libra? It's Saturn. So Saturn, what are the traits of a healthy Libra Svamsa in relation to how Saturn behaves exalted? Well, it's someone that can go with the changes of life with sturdiness and move with changes in a way that's understanding, oh, this is something that I can't change, and I just have to adapt to it. I just have to get over the fact that it's something that is going to be difficult and be able to make slight and small adjustments that are going to help you over the long term. Saturn is able to also identify things within you and things in your life that are just not useful anymore, and things that are just a waste of time, a waste of energy, and a waste of physical space. So what does a really good Libra Svamsa do with those things that you no longer need? Well, one option is just throw them away. The other option is to take those things and then give them to people who need those things. So again, an intelligent way to use the idea of trade in your life, seeing the things in your house, or seeing, really simple example, seeing things in your house, oh, I no longer need this, or this is not worthy to me. Someone might have a lot of worth to that have a lot of worth to another person. I'm going to sell it to them, or I'm going to trade it for something that I need. So a good Libra Svamsa has that trait of Saturn of seeing things that are just a waste of space and time in your life, and instead of just tossing them to the curb, they make them useful again. And that use can be, oh, I changed this thing I had lying around, this old candlestick, and it was just taking up space in my garage, and I turned that into $25. You can use that $25 for something else you might need. So having a good Libra Svamsa is all about identifying what is no longer useful, what's a waste of mine, but what could be useful to other people, and not let that continue to pile up and be wasteful in your life. So it also involves working hard throughout your life in order to make long-term changes. And that's what Saturn does really well. They can identify where things aren't working and then seeing for the long term and being able to really take on burdens in their life and to be able to move forward in ways that will make the long-term struggle in life or the life path more bearable as you move on. And that requires an understanding of what needs to change, what needs to move. Saturn's an air planet and it's exalted in an air sign. So being able to shift with life and flow with life in a healthy way. And that comes with bringing on new things. By that change, you change something, and then after that change is done with, a new thing can happen. You can receive something new into your life. And so that is the Libra Svamsa, and those are the main components of it. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. And looking forward to the next video, which will be Scorpio Svamsa.